In this video, we're going to focus on the next part, and we continue on with the point of sale system in JavaScript. And so far we have this, and then we already had now our item here. This we need to fix now. I think it's time to fix that one. We need to fix this button here. When we press on confirm, this should close. And eventually what we want to do here is to see this, and we should see here the change amount. And then we should probably have here as well a print button where you can print the receipt. And what I want to do here, of course, is I want this to be highlighted correctly in bold letters. And the change should be also highlighted maybe in a color, how much we need to give in change. And what we also, I realized that we need to do is basically eventually to block this. This should not be working if we have 0. Because why would we even have anything to pay? So there must be something in here, and then we are able to activate that. So let's start to work on those tiny items now. Alright, so I'm going to scroll down all to the bottom. Most likely it's all there. And then here, what we need to look is the following. So what are we going to do here? Well, we could do this one, and then we could figure out the change. So I want that one. Well, what I want to do first is look, what is the ID name of the change? And we can see here, apparently we give it the name of customer amount change. Alright, so we have this here. So I will just include it within this specific item, because once we click on confirm paid button, we should be able to do the change and the amount that the customer paid. That should work immediately. So we have this one here. And what we're going to do here is how much the customer paid. I need to know as well what would be the paid amount. So what I have is here, this is the customer amount change. So we need to know what's the change amount. To figure out the change amount, we will grab first what was the paid amount here. Alright, so we get this one here. We can see here, this is the ID called amount. So we're going to grab this amount. Then we say here, let's see, I'm not sure if we use this somewhere else here, and because of that I'm going to just say here document get element by ID, just to avoid any errors that we would have. Eventually we should improve this by refactoring, but for now refactoring is the least important. Having a working model is more important than having perfect code. There's nothing perfect in the code, or there's no need to perfect something if it doesn't even work. So let's start with this. So we have this one here, that's the amount. So what we know now is, then this should be probably as well a input. What I want to do is just to make sure, I'm going to say that this dot value, we are going to do this, minus the amount paid here. Or it's the other way around. We do the amount paid minus the amount. And the reason why amount paid can be higher, while the amount that the customer needs to pay to you will always be lower or equal to amount paid. That makes sense. So someone gives you a $10 bill and they need to pay only $4.99, there should be a certain amount of change. So that's it. So here what we can say as well is this customer change will be this one here. And this here needs to be as well with a dot value, I realize. So I'm going to say here, let's put that in there. And for now, I will just say here, because probably didn't use this anywhere else, const this equals get a document, sorry, dot get element by ID, and then the ID name will be this. And then I realize that this should be maybe in camel case. So amount change, sorry, amount change. That's the camel case wording. So we're going to grab this, and then we say here, this one, this should be amount, alright, because that's the amount. Then the amount change, that's the amount paid minus the amount change. Hold on, I'm also, I guess I'm getting too confused here. This should be, I'm going to change that one because this doesn't make any sense here. But this is the amount change. Alright. So the amount change is what? It's this one, of course. Sorry. I guess I have too many things with the same term, and then it's getting really dangerous. So we have this one here, all right? So the reason why I was trying to get it is because I want to get this specific item here. I want this one, and then we say the following. We will say this amount change, where we say here the dot value will be equal to amount paid dot value minus this amount here. So this would be the entire item. So if I save that, refresh, let's double check now. Alright, that works fine. Then we click on this, enter, confirm, and then I will close that. You can see here, amount is equal to 0. Fair enough, that is correct because we have an equal amount. So let's say now, I want to do this. I have this, and then I go to checkout, and then I suddenly pay a $100 bill. We get something interesting here. I didn't realize this, but I realize now we have an issue here, unexpected. So I'm going to clear this. And then I am surprised we have certain level of errors here, or something is not working out. So that's alright, we can debug that after all. So I'm going to say 50, confirm. This one works. So I don't know what happened here with the 100. So what am I missing? Or did I do something maybe that doesn't make sense? 100 doesn't work. So why is 100 not working? Let's click here in the console log. Do we get something here that I'm missing? Maybe the 100 doesn't have any function in here. Well, it does have. It should have. You can see this works. So there's something else running here. I'm going to check that later on. So what we do know is this. Let's see. Hold on. I just want to make sure that we have that. Let's say I'm going to pay $20. Well, for some reason, I guess we have a bug in there. So I'm going to say 20 for now. And then why are you here like that? I was not expecting that. Let's clear this $20. Now, alright, I figure out why this is here. But we have an issue. Because we only have right now, this one works. And if I would say here +5, then it doesn't allow anymore. Interesting. So we have to check here what's going on here. Or what am I missing? Let's see here. Am I missing something? Or did I not update anything here? The enable button equals true if the amount stream value is smaller than the amount that the customer needs to pay. Alright, that one is correct. Then we set this on false. So we have here a few items. We have this one here when we cancel. Let's see here. That's what we're going to do, because I noticed we solved one issue here, but that issue that we solved has created another issue. So let's see here, it was here in the value. So the number, we're going to add up a number, or else calculate a number is this. Alright, let's see. What am I missing here? So our issue is this specific value, and then if we click on that, so this would be this function here. Does this function, by all means, has an issue. The domination button. So I'm going to look for this domination button. We have here, and then we have enable confirm paid button. So this one is here, but for some reason this enable confirm button doesn't recognize this here. It will disable it if the value, the screen amount value here is larger than this. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to check, because maybe it's not seeing it as a string, or it's seeing it as a string instead of a number. I'm not sure if that would be the problem. What I will do, I'll just pause the video. Alright, so after a quick check, that was apparently the issue here. So what we're going to do here is basically this. You can see here, if I will start to parse it, let's see, we select this, we press here buttons, console log, it is not originally recognizing it as a value. So if I do this one, you can see here, something happens as well if I clear that. And then sometimes it does, and sometimes it does not. Am I correct? Alright, now it does for some reason. However, to make sure, I want to parse float all of the values here. So what we're going to do here is basically a parse float on this specific value here. We have that one, domination bill. Then what we want to do as well was the other item. Let's see here, when we press on this, let's remove this one. There should be here parse float. Make sure this is parse float. Alright, so this was already, I realized this was already parse float. What we need to focus on was this one here. I'm just looking at this one here. This is showing here the string value, so we're going to parse float this as well. Make sure you use parse float and not parse int. Why? Because maybe you have a floating number, else it will, well, it can change the numbering as well. So we don't want that. We only want parse float here. So we grab this parse float. So if parse float, so this is the way how you can compare. If a value is a number, you compare it with another number. You cannot compare a string with a string. So let's save this now and let's refresh this just to make sure we have everything working. So if I click on this, alright, so this is already weird, but don't worry about it. We have this, and then I do here another $. Alright. Clear, $5, clear, $10, clear. Let's do this, clear, let's say 1, and then we do here 10. Alright, so this works. Now what I need to do here is the next one is when we clear this, we have this one here. So what I'm going to do is, let's look here. We have this if statement here. And this if statement basically is always checking on our values here. We have this number here. Basically what happens here, this is an issue here. Here we have the issue is we're going to add up the value, and then we just add, or basically what we want to do is attach the number. And that's fine. But you notice when we have a 0, we don't want to attach number. In that case, the number must be overruling the 0. And the number that overrules it should be, of course, when it is not a 0 or dot. So when it's 1, this we need to be overruled. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to create another else if statement. And there we are. And then what I want to do here, this will be the else if. You can see we do have a lot of else if, and eventually we need to fine tune that, but that's later on. Then we make sure that here is the curly braces, or at least opening. So now we have this all correct. So we say here, this is our else if, and that will be the following. If we need to have the calculated value. If this equals 0, and that's the case, or if it's like equals string 0, in that case we want to make sure, and then probably, and the value, that's what we need to do, and the number is larger than 0. Sorry, larger means larger than 0 is like this, not smaller. This is the correct way. Number is larger than 0. In that case, what I want to do here is I will say the calculated screen amount value equals number. Very simple. Let's see if this works and if this is helping out or working correctly. So save that. Let's close that one there. That was not necessary. Save that here and then refresh. Check this. Alright, add up this. Let's do here. And let's say here number 3. Alright. If I do 0, false. Alright, we get an issue here. We get another issue here. You can see here. This is false. Alright, that is interesting because now we have another issue as well. As you can see here, how will we be able to make this? Alright, let's look at this. So if this equals 0, and that is the case, and number equals that, let's see. So why it gets false here? The false is on the other numbers here. That's because it's checking here if it's true. So includes true. Alright, so I just have to check. Alright, so I figured out, and the mistake is tiny but so dangerous, and maybe you've noticed it as well when I did the if statement here. So why is it showing here? Because we have here one equal, only a single equal. This means that it is not an if statement. We're not comparing anything, because immediately it will say here, if this, we just reassign this to 0. But what we want to do is we say here double equal. That's the only thing here we forgot, and I was just getting confused what it was. As you can see, debugging can be a real mess or a real challenge. So we have this now. Let's double check this video if we have this, because I was expecting this video would be very short. 3, 0, 3, 0. Alright, there we are. Now you can see here we got this one. So if I confirm this, alright, we want to close that one, then we get here what we need to pay back. So we have this one now as well. Let's start to give this a full value here. So let's do that. What I want to do here, then let's go up here. If confirmed, we could say here the amount. What is the amount? Check out the total amounts. Alright. Total amount. No, are we on the right term? So let me just double check here. This was, what is the term here? It's called, well, basically change. Alright, this is the one. We have the change here, and then basically here I'm going to just give it here text danger and font weight bold, just to make this very clear to the cashier how much she need to give back, or he, depending on the cashier, of course. Next here, we have here the amount that the customer paid. So we say here text, well, maybe, I'm not sure if success is the right term. We can just do here this bold. So we'll see here, so if I press on this checkout, click here, and then let's say we'll pay $5 more, confirm that, close this, bold, and there we are. So this is bold, how much the customer paid, and this is how much change we need to give back. Now what I want to do here is just to dismiss this every time here. So for that, I'm just going to search for the confirm button. You can see here, we have this dismiss model data bootstrap dismiss, and that's basically the command to dismiss. Save that, refresh here now, click on that, this, select that. Well, that doesn't make sense, of course. Let's make here $20, confirm, dismiss, bam, there we are. Total amount here. So we have this one now done. This here as well, I guess this would be the customer number. There should be maybe eventually a numbering system in here, and I have a whole story for that. Maybe that will be suitable for another video. What I want to do here is basically this. The moment we have this, we should have here eventually two buttons. Next customer and print receipt. We could even do in here, and you can see this as well. When we paid and confirmed, we should disable this button as well. Let's do this right now. I want to disable this specific button. You can see here what is the ID name of this specific button. There is no specific ID name, so I'm going to give it. So let's say this would be the amount calculator item. Alright, so let's search here. I'm going to do Control F. Search for this specific data target basically, or attribute. That's what it really is. Here I'm going to say this ID, and this is a label, this is the button here. So we're going to say here ID, this is the, let's give this the proper name of calculator model, because that's really what it is. I'm going to copy this, and then I will say here, and then we can use this as a function, scroll this all down here. The moment we click here on confirm button paid, what we want to do here is we won't want the or anyone to click again on paid. So we say your const, or what we could do here is just we say here document.get element by ID, and then we grab this ID name, or that's the button, put it in here, and then we say here, disabled equals true. That's what we're going to do here. And I'm really on the right spot at the moment we confirm paid button. Alright, this should be all fine. If I save this now, refresh, click on this, press on that, say here exact amount, confirm, and now I'm still able to click on this. Why? Let's see what's going on here. Get element, oh, misspelling, sorry. Get element, make sure you spell it correctly. Alright, let's do this again. Confirm. Oh, we're still able to click on this. So what's going on here? Should you not, should you be disabled, or am I missing here something? Model, calculator model, that's the button. So what are we missing here? Document get element by ID, calculator model, disabled. Okay, that's it. Disabled, sorry about this. Make sure you double check your writing as well. Click on that. No, I need to have an item. Alright, vitamin water. Click, pay, confirm. Now you can see here it's grayed out. Beautiful. So now this means this is it. This is the change we need to give the customer. The final item, let's refresh this because eventually we need to have a button here, new customer. Click on that. I want to say here, enter exact amount. Let's solve this one immediately because this is already here for a while. So all I will do here is I will just extract the value here. So the amount here, we will always want to recalculate this. And the reason why we want to recalculate this is, imagine this, this is the scenario. We have a customer and then they are ordering only the vitamin or the water, and then you click here and then they say, oh wait, I would like to order, I don't know, another item as well. And then you have to go back to checkout here and I need to recalculate. Alright, so we need to recalculate every time we click on this specific paid amount button. So that's what we're going to do right now. When we click on this specific button, I guess we already have an ID on here as well. But there's also a function in here. Am I correct? Well, let's see here. So we need to get this here calculated. Let's click on this specific button. Let's get the ID of this specific button. So I'm going to grab this. This is the calculator model button, remember, that we have here. So when we click on this, insert it, the only thing what it really does now is just trigger a model. But this is a attribute. So we are not going to use attribute, we're going to put in here just another on click. Alright, so say you on click, and what we're going to do here is total amount. And I'm just wondering here, because when we have this one here, what we could do here is basically on that. So we say here the amount, and let's say here, exact amount, item, button, exact amount, the calculator. I'm just going to give it something. I'm not sure. Calculator. Let's give it for this now. Alright. So I would say give it maybe a bit better function now. I don't know exactly what to name this. And but that's alright for now because I don't want to spend too much time on the naming. Although eventually you have to do that. It's a good practice to do it because you might struggle afterwards, and maybe I will get the punishment afterwards, but we'll see about that. That's alright for now. And what I'm going to do here now is we have this insert calculator, we have all these numbers, so I'm going to put it here up. That will be more than enough. So we say here, we have this function, and this function here, all it does only one thing really, is to get that value that we have here, which is this specific amount. Let's grab this specific amount here. Let's see here, input. Do we have an ID on here? I thought I really had an ID on there. How did I put this number in here? Alright, that's the amount. Alright, we have the ID. Apparently the ID here is amount. So we say here, document, well, we can grab this one first. Let's grab this one first. Document.getElement by ID. We have this. And then what I want to do here is the following. I want to click on this and I want to grab the exact amount text here. You see this one here. You see this, enter this amount here. Alright. This here will be inner text. But there's one thing I want you to adjust. We have this. I don't want to delete everything. All I want here is a span, and this span value will be adjusted. So that will be very important. So let me add up the span specifically in the exact amount item here. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to search for this. So we jump up immediately here. So we have the same text here. Exact amount. Here, we're going to put in a span. I'll just put it here between span. And then we say here, well, this could be the ID. ID exact amount span. Let's call it span. That's very simple. So then we go back here down. We go back to our function. There was this one here, the exact amount calculator. And then all we say here is that this document here, we say document.getElement by ID. Then we have, of course, this. Make sure that this is an ID with a string. There's a dot inner text, not inner HTML, but inner text. All I want to remove is the inner text, and then we say equals document.getElement by ID amount. Save this, refresh. So if I now click on one item, oh, what's going on here? I get an error. Unexpected syntax on 390. So we have this one, 390. What's going on here? Document.getElement.inner text. Unexpected curly braces. Of course. Alright, sorry about that. Function. Make sure you have the name of function, because it is a function. Save that. Refresh. That makes sense, of course. I should know better. Click on this. We have this value here, exact amount. Click on that. Input object HTML element. Alright. Here it is. So what was my mistake? So maybe you already figured out it's a input element here, and I got here only the ID name. So what I need to do, or this was only the ID name of the input. Not allowed to that. I need to get here the dot value, of course. Save that. Now it should work as expected. Try again. Click on that. There we are. But now imagine this. Oh wait, I would like to order another drink. Alright, a vitamin water. Click on that, and then there you can see, now we get the value. So if I click on this, the exact value here is matching. And then of course we say, well, hold on. I need a lot of extra orange juice. Fair enough. Exact amount. There we are. So now we have this one, and now we really have everything ready here. Of course, we're not, there's still so much we have to do, but we're now again ready. Next one will be eventually the receipt we should have here that we calculate, and we can print out the receipt. And then eventually we should have tabs here for the orders. And then I had a special request to get here a plus and minus to add up here. So we have to do those things as well. But there's a lot of work to do more.